Particles. Introduction to particles. Rock, water, and air fall into totally different states of matter. They are totally different, but they share one thing in common, that they are made of particles. Everything is made up of particles that are so tiny that naked human eyes cannot see. There is enough evidence that particles exist, such as when near a place where food is being cooked, we can smell the scent of the food. The reason is because of particles, as the particles are moving and mixing in the air and they enter our nostrils. Sometimes we witness dust and smoke dancing in the air in sunlight. Yes, those are clusters of particles. The movement of particles. In rocks and other solids, the particles are bonded, jam-packed to each other, which means that they are not free to move around. But in liquids and gases, the case is different, as they are free to move around and bounce off each other. Every movement of these particles is random while hitting other particles. This is called random motion. Experiments, yes. There are many experiments to prove that particles exist. One is placing a crystal of potassium manganate in a beaker of water, and the second is to put a few drops of bromine in an open gas jar. Now we go back to the first experiment. In the first experiment, we notice that the water changes its color slowly. That is because the particles leave the crystal and dissolve into the water. In the experiment consisting of bromine, after adding the few drops, we turn the jar upside down and witness that the color spreads upwards because the bromine vapors mix with the particles of air. And now over here, figure 1.1 shows potassium manganate dissolved in water, and figure 1.2 shows bromine vapors mixed with the air particles. Diffusion. In all of the examples that were presented, the particles mix by colliding into each other and result in bouncing off each other. This process of mixing is called diffusion. The overflow sequence of the particles is from where they are more concentrated to where they are less concentrated, unless that they are evenly spread out. Now, we would like to present an example. Figure 1.3 shows coffee by diffusion. Even if it isn't stirred, the coffee particles do spread all through the water. Understanding what particles are. Yes. In figure 1.4, we can see figure 1.4 shows atoms. The smallest of the particles that cannot be broken down by chemical means are called atoms, such as argon is made of a single argon atom. Figure 1.5, molecules. In some of the substances, the particles consist of two or more atoms joined together. They are called molecules, such as water and bromine. Figure 1.6, ions. In some other substances, the particles consist of atoms or groups of atoms that carry a charge. These are called ions. Examples are beryllium ion and sodium ion. Seeing particles. Everything is made of particles, so tiny that a naked human eye cannot see. We stated that on the first slide. But now, scientists are able to see atoms by using really strong microscopes in the lab. They state when they see the atoms, they appear almost 70 million times larger than they are.